What's going on, guys? Patrick here. Welcome back to another video. So this video, we are going to be focusing on some tips and tricks for you guys that are doing flat glass. I see a lot of people getting into flat glass and, trying to transition or adding flat glass on top of their automotive stuff. But it's freaking killing me that some of you guys are just like making it so much harder than it really needs to be. So if you guys really want to take flat glass seriously, we had 90% of my business was automotive, and then a few years ago it started to transition over, and probably 75% of my company is now all commercial residential. So I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks so that you guys can make your installations faster, make your installations easier for you, and a number of other things, because like I said, some of y'all post videos and y'all are absolutely killing me. So here we go. First step, number one, get yourself a film handler. Okay, these things come in two different sizes. They either come in the 60-inch version, or 72-inch version. Do not get the 60-inch version, because boxes sometimes come in 72s. Also, well, they come in 72s and they come in 60s, and they can come smaller than that. But typically, you can double dip windows on a 60 or a 72. So if you get a 60-inch film handler, you're not going to be able to fit. Clearly, you're not going to be able to fit a 72. So don't pigeonhole yourself. Get a 72. You can get these at filmhandler.com. Okay, they're made by SolarGuard. It's not a plug, it's just where they come from. So what ends up happening is that other distributors, I won't name names, will buy this full retail and then put it on their website and sell it for like $1,300, $1,400. You don't have to do that. A few years ago, maybe closer to 5 years ago, these used to be about $750. Now these are about just right around $1,000. If you're going to take flat glass seriously in any capacity, then get yourself a film handler, because it's silly not to. You can pre-cut everything. You can get to the jobs a little bit easier with the film already ready, and you can pre-cut, before you even get to the job on your spare time. So it makes it a lot easier for you. So you can go to filmhandler.com or call a SolarGuard rep, and they can go ahead and get it shipped over to you. They're, like I said, it's about $1,000. I went and picked mine up. If they have to ship it, I don't know how much it is. It's going to be extra. Trust me, it'll pay back in spades. Normally, it does come. I'm not 100% sure if it comes with this screw or not, but I had to get this screw and a wing nut. I basically drilled a hole on the bottom, or on the top actually, of a 6-foot ladder. Okay, and this is an aluminum ladder. So all in all, I think I spent a couple $100 on that. $750 on that, out the door about $1,000. Now these are about $1,000. You might spend a couple hundred. So worst case scenario, you're gonna be about right around $1,200. Like I said, you can mount this on to like a platform over here if you wanted to, and just keep it posted up. I do it this way because sometimes we don't have the ability to pre-cut before we get to the project. So this is actually a mobile unit. So I can break this whole thing apart. I can take the film handler off. I can pick up the ladder, and then we can bring this on location, and we can go ahead and do so and go from there. This is a 6-foot ladder. So that means from the top of the ridge down to the bottom of the floor, 72 inches. So you guys can do the math, but I think this is the best setup for this. If you're cutting out of the box, if you're gonna cut out the box, I mean, that's like if you're gonna end up doing like 1 or 2 or 3 jobs a year, then cut out the box, because you're not gonna make your money off of this. But if you guys are really serious about flat glass, which you'd be silly not to, because it's a great part of the business, get a film handler. Stop cutting out of the box. When you cut out of the box, the problem with cutting out of the box is it gets really, really messy. You can't get straight lines. The only straight edges you have are these factory edges here and here. So when you cut out of the box, this line is wavy, and you got to cut here and from the previous cut. So you only have one straight edge. And if you're not doing it right, sometimes this straight edge isn't going to be the top. It's going to end up being like one of the sides. So when you have to, number one, then that means you have to cut 3 sides. And especially if you have to cut a top side, if you have to cut the top edge, you're almost always guaranteed, unless you're experienced and you know what you're doing, you're almost guaranteed to get trash all on that top edge. It's much easier to have a straight edge on the top and a straight edge on one of the sides, because then you can just line up the top and you don't get trash on the top. Doing it this way also helps have a cleanlier installation as well. Just cutting out of the box, you end up having to cut 3 sides. Most of the time you end up having cutting 4 sides. And when you have to cut 4 sides versus 2, it just makes everything a lot longer. You have to relief cut the corners, you have to push them in, and then you have to cut the edge. So why cut 3 to 4 sides when you could just cut 2 and then make the job a little bit better? Let's go over here and let's go and measure a window real quick. Okay, so let's just say that this is the window that we're gonna tint. Okay, let's take a measuring tape. I'm at, it looks like 33 1/8 of an inch. So what you guys wanna do is you guys just wanna add an inch to this, right? So it's 33 1/8, so it'd be 34 1/8. If you want to make it easier, especially if you guys have sales guys, like if this was 33, this is right at 33. So I would be safe to cut it at 34 and call it 34. If it was like 33 1/2, you know, any substantial distance past the 1 inch, then I would round it up to the next inch. So I'd make this 34 and then I would add an inch. When you do that, then you'll never have more than 2 inches of leftover film. But you'll never have less than an inch, because if you have less than an inch in your measurements, when you go ahead and put it on the film handler, sometimes the film does sway, especially if you don't have shims to hold the film in place. The film can torpedo left or right when you're pulling, so that could give you a variance on how thick and thin that gap will be. So give yourself a little bit extra. So like I said, if it's close to the inch, like this is very close to 33, I'd be comfortable cutting it at 34. If it was 33 1/2, I would round up to 34 and then add an extra inch at 35. And that would give me at least 1.5 inches. Some of you guys are cutting 3, 4, 5, 6 inches past that line. Number one, it's very cumbersome to install a window when you have 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of extra film. Number two, you're cutting 3 or 4 sides. And number three, it's an immense waste of film. If you guys cut film correctly, then you'll be able to save film, keep your film cost and your waste down, or keep your waste down and your film cost down as well. And that way you can save film for future projects and get paid for that instead of just wasting 5 or 6. If you're wasting 5 or 6 inches per window, you know, and you have a house to do, you end up smoking like 15, 20 feet extra that you don't need. You can do a lot in 15 or 20 feet. You could probably make a few $100s to $500 to $1,000 maybe, possibly. You can make more money off that film because you're not being wasteful on the film. I've seen small outfits, and I've even seen bigger outfits that just have like horrible technique and horrible practices where they're just wasting film and wasting time. So that's the width. I'm gonna cut this at 34, up and down. Here's a perfect example. It's right at 25 1/2. So I'm gonna go round it up to 26, add an extra inch. I'm gonna call this 27. So 27 is going to be it, and then that way I never have more than 2 inches, but I definitely have more than an inch, and that's all you really need. That's all you really need. Don't be giving yourself more, or wasting film whatever you need. I was thinking about this at 33, at 34. This would probably be better at cut because there's going to be 2 windows. This will probably be better cut on a 72 inch, not a 60, right? Because 34 plus 34 is 68, which is less than 72, which gives you less waste, right? On a 68, on a 72, you're only wasting 4 inches, right? So that's what you want to do. You don't want to do this on a 60-inch roll, and then you're going to end up wasting so much more film. Even if you went up and down, at 27, you can pull these down sideways, and go 27 across and then 27 across and just pull it down 34 inches, and you can do this on a 60 inch that way as well. So kind of be smart on how you're pulling. So the best way for us, and how are we going to minimize waste, right? And how are we going to minimize the film costs? So we have 34 by 27, and this is a 60 inch roll. So if I did 27 and 27, what is that? That's 54. On a 60, we waste 6 inches, right? So this is where you want to be thinking, and you want to be smart, especially when you're buying your film. Which rolls of film will yield you the most film with the least amount of waste? So if we were doing 2 of those windows over there, if I cut it on a 60, which I only have a 60, but you want to order like a 72 for this one. If you cut it on a 60, you'll end up getting 6 inches of waste. But if you take the same film and you have a 72 inch and you cut the 34 instead of the 27, then you only end up wasting 4 inches. 4 inches versus 6 inches, that's 33% savings. And that's where, that's where you start getting smart with your film. And if you can do this, we buffer in roughly 25 to 30% film cost waste into our proposals, so that we are planning on already smoking that much film. But if you end up being efficient with your film and you only have maybe a 10% film waste, now you have 20% of extra film that you didn't already account for, which you can turn around, keep that on your stocks. The next company or the next bid that comes in, or the next project that comes in, you have footage on the shelves, and then now you don't have to go spend more money on film on the next project. You already have film. So be smart on how you're doing this. So I clearly don't have a 72. I only have a 60. So the best way to go for here is we're going to cut it to 72 or 27 here. We'll probably do another 27 over here. Yes, we're going to waste 6 inches of film, but I don't have a 72, so that's better than nothing. And we'll pull it down 34 inches. So on a 60 inch, I like to line it up to the 10, so it's not all stacked over here on this side, because these film rolls kind of get a little heavy. So if I put it on the 10, it kind of centers it a little bit better. So 10 plus 27 is 37. Put 37 right here, bam. And then from 72, what you can do also is this is gonna stop at a 70, so I can go out to 27, make it quick and easy. Oh, look, I'm at 43. Move it over, 43. Now I'm ready to rock. One thing you can do here as well is this is what we do to mark it here. This is where we're gonna cut our film, and if we go straight down, we're gonna go to 34. Have a straight line right at 34. You don't have to go crazy. I'm gonna get a better piece of tape. You don't have to go crazy and be exact, because we already buffered ourselves at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches. All right, so 34, easy peasy. Okay, pull it down and pull straight down. Boom. And then now you have a straight edge on the factory edge, and then if we're pulling this straight down and correctly, we can go ahead and drop this bar down, cut this film right here, and now we have 2 edges. Now we have the top edge and one of the sides, and then that's how we're able to go ahead and have 2 sides instead of having to cut 3 sides or 4 sides. We're trying to start to expedite this. Also, let's see here, if we're gonna do a reverse roll, kind of figure out which side is the liner side, which is that side. I don't think I have a knife. Do I have a knife? Let me get a knife. Pause. So we'd have tape already prepped and ready, and the tape would be marked, and it'll say, for example, this one, it would say 34 by 27, and then have a 2 in parentheses. So that'll let us know that this is 34 by 27, and there's gonna be 2 of them in there. Okay, if you're gonna roll for a reverse roll, go ahead. You can cut these and lay these out and then just kind of hold them like this. And I've seen some of you guys like holding it with your teeth and kind of peeling like that. Don't do that, because the probability of you creasing the film or crimping the film while you're doing that just increases. So you can reverse roll, you can do a drop roll when you're doing a reverse roll, or you can unroll left to right, but having tubes is so much better because it's less probability of the film getting damaged. So I see that the liner side is towards me, so I want to roll with the liner side in, roll it up. Let your knife do the cutting. Don't force it. Lay it right on top. Let the knife do the cutting and just follow that line until the end. Boom, just like that. Okay. What I like to do is when I'm rolling these and I'm getting ready for a project, I'm like, let's say I'm pre-cutting everything, I always give at least 3 fingers. 3 fingers worth of space in here. You don't want to do it too tight, because if you do it too tight, then what could end up happening is that the liner can start separating, and it doesn't look good. And sometimes you can see that within the installation, because the liner will start to kind of unravel itself off the film. So that's one. Do the same thing here. Come up here, take your knife. You can trim this extra stuff if you want it. You can keep it long and help let it pull. Keep a trash can like right here. Drop your trash right there. Be clean as you go. Don't make a huge mess and then have to have a huge mess to clean up when you're done. Clean as you go. You don't want it to look like bananas in there, especially if you're gonna be commercial or residential. You're gonna be around the clients and they're gonna see you working. So you wanna be professional, look professional. Okay, look, so I got the tail here and the tail's here on this first one. You don't want to go backwards, so you want to make it look exactly how it did. So that rolls into each other. See how they look exactly the same? It's rolling that way, rolling that way. You don't want it rolled one way and then try to torpedo it into the same film the other way, because it won't unroll. Now you put it inside the film, and now you have both windows here. It'll be marked here, and then that way, we bring it to our project area or whatever window it is, and now you can separate it between the windows that you have within the project. Now we're here, let's say I'm ready to wipe, I'm ready to clean. What I do here is I just put my fingers in and I twist in, and I'm gonna tighten up that first one, pull straight out. Now that tube is still together. You can have 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of film in there, and you leave it there and you only have 1 piece of film. And now you're ready to go for a reverse roll, or if you're gonna drop it, you can do an air peel as well. And I'll show you guys how to do a proper air peel if you guys don't wanna do reverse rolls or drop rolls. So these are some tips for you guys, and that way it makes your life a little bit easier. It's gonna make your installations a little bit easier. Hopefully it'll expedite everything. If you guys are going to these estimates and you're measuring correctly, then you're not gonna waste as much film, and then you could potentially save the film for a later project. And besides the waste, you're only gonna be about 2 inches past the edge of the film, of the window itself. So it's gonna be a lot easier to work with. When you have 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of excess film past your edge, it becomes very cumbersome to work with it, and then you can end up damaging film. So quicker, faster, easier, cleaner. Yeah, if you take these tips that I've told you, it's going to make your jobs and your installs in life a little bit easier, a little bit better. Like I said, you can go to filmhandler.com or contact a SolarGuard rep to get yourself a film handler. They are the ones that make it. 72-inch retails for right around $1,000, right under $1,000. Don't go to another distributor that happen to have film handlers. I guarantee you, go check it out. Other people have film handlers, but they bought them, I guess they bought them full price from Film Handler or SolarGuard, and they're on their website for $1,300, $1,400. Obviously, they're trying to make, a profit off of their investment of stocking it, but why spend $300 or $400 more when you don't have to? So go ahead and check that out. I hope this video was helpful, guys. If you guys are getting into flat glass, I'll spit out some more flat glass videos to try to help you guys along a little bit better. But listen to the tips and tricks that I have, because I've been doing this for years. It's my main bread and butter, the majority of my business. Oh, one more tip too, before we leave, is if you guys are on a project, let's just say that this is a PureView 35, it was a 60-inch, and it looks like it was 25 feet when we purchased it. We know how many what the linear footage is that we use on a project. So if we know that ahead of time and we don't use any more film and we keep track of it, then let's just say we used 11 linear feet. Then we take that and we write a 14, because that's what's left over. We give it a circle and we put it right on the on the box. So then that way, as we're using it, once we're done with the project, we know there's roughly 14 linear feet on this box. We don't have to check our stocks. We have 35? Well, how much is it? Let's take that out and go from there, because eventually, as you can see, boxes of film, as you start going, as you start doing more projects, boxes of film just start to pile up, you know, and you end up having excess of film all over the place, and you don't want to have to open up every single box just to see what's in there and then turn around and having to either put it back on the film handler or rolling it out or trying to read how many circles there are. It's just a pain. Like, save yourself the time and do a little bit of work as you're going, and it'll save you time on the long run. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you on the next one.